majority of the time, they're coming to you either at crisis point. So they've buried their head in the sand long enough. Now they realise they've got to do something about it because it's hit to a point where, they no longer can pay their rent, or they haven't met a tuition fee. There's a consequence. Okay, so that crisis point.
So it's customers who already probably may be facing financial hardship. They've been maybe they lost a job recently. It could be they're going through bereavement. People being made redundant, or they've been homeless, or someone fleeing domestic violence. So we work with a very broad group of customers.
Debt is a taboo subject, so people are normally very, very anxious and sometimes tearful and embarrassed about the fact that they've got debt.
But the common themes are essentially everybody who is in debt is frightened. Some are quite depressed by their position and can't see a way out, and a very few to be fair, but some are a bit cavalier about it and think, oh well, it'll work out, I'll be fine, and don't seem to appreciate the enormity of the situation.
Commonly our customers are on a low income, so their needs is it could be that they have not enough money to feed their family today. Or it could be someone who is moving to social housing from temporary accommodation, so they haven't got a bed to sleep on tonight, they haven't got a cooker to prepare a meal for their children. It might be someone who lost their partner or husband and they don't know even where they stand. They just need emotional help and support.
Help with filling out forms and understanding of what the content they need to put in with them. Regarding certain circumstances, if your well-being is not great or something else is having a major impact and that's starting to affect your finances, it can be really hard to write something down and complete a form about it. I mean, it could be a simple question of your own details, but your mind is elsewhere. So I think one of our common requests is to be able to sit down and make sense of the form, really, to put it in, should we say, their terms.
You also find customers also saying, maybe I've got a life event, I'm in debt, I've got all these finances to manage. How can I actually maximize my income? And this is when we're talking about benefits. Is there any financial support available? Do they actually qualify for those benefits? Okay, that's a good one. That's an everyday thing.
Based on our customers' needs, we can have either staged approach. We always think, how much is it enough kind of information, because it can be overwhelming with the money guidance, in particular if you are trying to pack everything, fit everything into one appointment. So we often have to schedule another appointment because we can see that it's too much for a person to digest.
To really set those expectations again, to clearly explain, what's within the remit of the service, how we can actually help the customer to move on or to answer their query if we can, and if not, is to then refer them on, to signpost them to specialist organizations who can then actually be able to provide them with the regulated advice that they need.
Be friendly, be caring, and be just willing to just put in the time with them. We are who we are. And we make that very clear, that the reason we do what we do is because we're Christians and we want to help people, and it's a charity, so that the debt help is free.
Sometimes they come to you because they're the natural resource. They see as that's the part I've been told as a student, if I have issues with this, I need to go and see this person. But through my direction, it might be then I pass them on to another specialism to get the correct advice going forward.
We are known to be a non-judgmental source of help and assistance, and people have a great affinity to that.
It's heartening when you start to work with them and they're seeing a light at the end of the tunnel, and they can often just become quite different then once they've got a bit of hope.